Gardening in India is the fifth biggest in the world. It's closer to about $9 billion, out of
Wow.
which
Okay.
almost $5.5 billion is landscaping. So I felt, there was a need of, like a one stop shop
Yeah.
for anything and everything gardening. And one day we had posted about helping out with oxygen cylinders and all that. The brand will go ahead and do that, and almost some 20-25 celebrities had reposted it. I would like to draw a parallel with the Japanese bamboo, I think.
Okay.
Do something that no one has done before.
Okay.
There is some different level of satisfaction that you get, different level of sleep that you get. Write your own playbook. You need not become another Me Too brand.
A love for plants that's turned into a thriving business. My guest today is the founder of Ugaoo, who's bringing gardening to urban India one pot at a time. Siddhant, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show.
So, Siddhant, the first thing that struck me when I was reading up about Ugaao is the journey and the story of Ugaao and your story, because it started off with your grandfather's seed shop so many years back, and then from that it has culminated into Ugaao today. Take us through that journey.
So, my family business has been a seed company since the last 140 years. So, it's India's oldest seed company. So, often the conversation at the dinner table used to be around seeds, plant technology, and that's what really brought me closer to plants. And I knew I wanted to do something around plants. And I was really good at designing. So, I studied landscape architecture.
Okay.
That's where I really understood what value plants add to people's lives. And once I got back to India and I looked at the overall landscape of gardening stores, I saw that there's a huge gap. There were no specialized stores catering to gardening. Most of the people were going to agriculture stores and agro shops to purchase gardening tools, seeds, sometimes also the fertilizers and all. So I thought there is a big gap over there, and some brand needs to come in and fill that gap, at least in the metro cities, because the audience is quite aware now.
Yeah.
They know about indoor plants. They want to adopt few plants at home, and also want to give them quality fertilizer, have them in fancier pots. So I think that's where it all started. I came back in 2014. I thought, a brand could be built in this space, and I think online space was really hot there because you were not limited by a certain geography.
Yeah.
So that's how Ugaao came into being in December 2015.
Okay, right. But Siddhant, before we go forward into Ugao's journey, I want to take you back to that little seed shop in Baikala in Mumbai. What was that experience like, when you used to go there, when you used to see the seeds? What did it all mean to you?
So since it's my family business, I was quite, I used to go to that shop every vacation, right? So every summer vacation, I used to be the cashier,
Okay.
right when I was like, 8th standard until like, 12th
Yeah,
standard.
yeah, yeah.
In the afternoon when my grandfather used to go home and the rest, I took it as an opportunity to sit there and, collect money. So I used to like kind of observe people, what they're buying. I used to love dealing in cash,
Yeah.
so that really excited me. Like counting the change and
Yeah.
having it ready before the next customer comes. So it taught me a lot of things about efficiency. It taught me a lot about how people are kind of driven by gardening. We used to get a lot of avid plant lovers, avid gardeners who really wanted this specific plant or a specific pot. They had a lot of problems happening with their plants, so they used to be really worried when they would come. And the salespeople almost felt like doctors guiding them.
Guiding them, yeah.
So I really liked the fact that we were helping these lovely plant parents to get out of a problem, or if there is any challenge that they're facing or any specific tool that they want, we were able to offer it. So I think it was very satisfying to see that, and I felt that this is something that I really want to pursue going forward as well.
Yeah, yeah. So what was your relationship with plants, with gardening as a child, and how did that sort of fuel what you're doing now?
So as I said, coming from like the agri side, we were always close to plants. We had a
So did
farm.
you have your own little garden or plot? Which plants did you plant, or flowers? Any favorite flowers?
Yes, so at my nanny's place, there was a very nice garden in the backyard, and again, every weekend we used to go there, and I used to spend about an hour or two every Sunday with my nanny going into that garden. She would tell me which plant to water, which to not. She would give a sickle in my hand and be like, you have to do all these things. So I think I had that connect with plants since the early days. And again, with my father's side, I think, he used to take me to a lot of farms. He used to take me on his sales tours, where I used to go in these agriculture lands and I used to see all these crops and all. So I was always fascinated that, how is it growing? Like,
Yeah.
how can it be made faster, the growth, or how do you really harvest? So that connect was always there, I feel.
Right, right. And what was that moment? Of course, you said you went abroad, you studied, and then you came back and you saw this gap. But was there a specific moment or an incident where you realized that, okay, this is what I want to do? Or was it sort of a gradual process?
So I studied landscape architecture.
Yeah.
So the idea was to practice
Yeah.
design. But when I came back, I felt that the gardening market is just not evolved. It's so unorganized, and I'm very bullish about the new India, right? And I really wanted to build for the newer generation of consumers in India. And I felt that the presentation of this category has to be better. You cannot expect someone or an old lady to go to an agriculture shop and just keep asking for different products which are not really specialized for that purpose. So I felt there was a need of like a one-stop shop
Yeah.
for anything and everything gardening. So that was the trigger point. I felt like if you look at the Western world, like US, UK, they have huge garden centers,
Yes.
big box stores like Home Depot,
Yeah.
Lowe's, which have a dedicated gardening section. And, that is something that inspired me to really create this brand for India. And I feel that is the point where I decided, okay, I'm going to build this from scratch now.
Right. And what was the biggest challenge in that initial phase when you decided that this is what you want to build? What do you think was the most difficult aspect of jumping into entrepreneurship?
And I had to take a risk that time. So I think that early on, taking that risk was a big challenge for me. I was just 22 at that point. And, you don't really think out too far
Did you
at
face
that
any
age.
resistance from people around you, family at
My
all?
family, of course, expressed their concern
Okay.
that, why not start a store? Or, why don't you start small? Why do you have to be online? Like, there's so many things that are involved with it.
Yeah.
You have no experience. You're just coming out of college. So I think I wanted to do this. I wanted to take the risk, and somewhere I was fearless at that point because nahi chala to theek hai na, like
Correct.
what's going wrong, no one knows me, I have no credibility, so it's okay if I fail also, maybe I can pivot again in my life. So of course, like, family pressure was there, and earlier on, like, consumers were also skeptical, so that was the only challenge when I got into this business
Okay.
initially.
Right. So tell us, what is Ugaoo to you? What does it stand for?
So Ugaao is a green haven for anyone who wants to enter into this plant journey. I feel, gardening is a very broad term in today's world. I feel having 2 to 3 plants is also called gardening, or, you can call it planting, or having house plants at home,
Yeah.
plant journeys. I feel everyone needs to be connected with plants at some age in their lifespan. We are seeing that a lot of young, millennials, Gen Z are now wanting to adopt plants, at least have like 2 to 3 plants on their windowsill or start growing their own food. I feel Ugaao is that one brand that makes it easier for you to get on this journey. It is an enabler, it educates you, whatever we, put out on our social media, on our blogs, is very simple to absorb and makes it very easier for anyone and everyone to kind of take the leap and start this journey
Yeah.
overall. So I think we are that comfort point or the inflection point for anyone to take up gardening
Right.
in life.
And, of course, when it comes to cities, obviously there is a dearth of space, there are apartments. So, I mean, I love plants myself. I have, two areas in my house outside on the parapet, which is full of pots. But again, then there are so many issues like sunlight not reaching it, and then which plants, which flowers work and which don't, and all of those kind of things. What did you feel in terms of, considering that you started off in these metros, what was that experience like, given that paucity of space is a big concern?
I mean, as urbanization is happening, more and more people are, going into apartments. And that's where indoor plants really play a huge role. And that's why we see that, they are really trending right now. Because in apartments, you don't get sunlight throughout the day. You have hardly 1 or 2 hours of sunlight. It also depends on which side your window
Yes.
is. So there are a few plants that require only a couple hours of sunlight during the week. There are some plants which are very low light plants which you can possibly keep, in a darker room or your bathroom. And there are certain plants, like most of the flowering plants, need at least 4 to 5 hours of sunlight throughout the day. So what we try to do often is like educate the consumer through our blogs, or even if you look at our product detail pages, we have given all instructions as to how do you really take care of this plant, what are all the needs, what are the things you do, what are the things you don't do for this plant. So that's how we're trying to kind of educate the consumer on how to, which one to get.
Yeah.
And let's say if you don't have light, there are maybe 3 4 plants that you can also have.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also, like you were mentioning, the entire evolution of people getting into gardening and owning plants is sort of gone to a next level, because earlier it was, even now it is, of course, pet parents is a huge thing, but now plant parents has also become quite a significant part of how especially the younger generation is looking at things. So what is your sense of how this market is going to evolve, considering that it's an extremely fragmented market? On one hand, you still have people coming on the lane with the outside my house also, this on their cycle with carrying little saplings, they're coming. And on the other hand, of course, like Ugaoo, which is well-established brand. So how do you see both coexisting, and what do you see for the future of this entire market?
So gardening in India is the 5th biggest in the world. It's closer to about $9 billion, out of
Wow.
which
Okay.
almost $5.5 billion is landscaping, so which is more of the public projects, airports, dividers and
Right.
all of that, larger landscapes.
Right.
About $4 billion is home gardening. So the market is huge.
That's still a huge chunk.
Yeah, it's a huge market. The only problem is that it is 99% unorganized
Right.
even today. Like there are no established, stores. There is a nursery in the nook and corner,
Yes.
or there are these carts. People, in Bombay, it's you will see it everywhere that people are selling plants on
Yes.
carts and all. So I feel that the category has always been there. It's just that it needs to be organized in a better way. Now, how I look at Ugaao coexisting with these nurseries is that the elder generation, maybe my parents or my grandparents, they have always been used to going to these local nurseries or
shops,
the
yeah.
local bhaiya,
Yeah.
which is, maybe like 200 meters away. So that consumer behavior is very difficult to change, because that's an experience in itself. You're able to go there, you have a relationship with the person manning that nursery. You have a lot of questions. He has always helped you all along. Wherein Ugaao is more for the younger consumer.
Okay.
So I'm talking more of like Gen Z and millennials.
Right.
These guys really want to know, what is this plant? Where should I keep it? How to maintain it? So I feel people who really appreciate that information, plus they want it with a value added pot, for example.
Right.
They don't want to fertilize the plant for at least 1 year. That's where Ugaao comes in, wherein we have a ready-made solution where you don't need to fertilize, everything is given to you. You need to water it probably once a week rather than watering
Okay.
thrice a week. So whatever we sell, we have made it easier to maintain.
Okay.
So it's more for the people who have lesser time on their hands
Right, right.
and want to, get on this journey hassle free.
So you don't have to use all the fertilizers and the
Yeah. So all our
composting
plants
or-
come with slow release fertilizers,
Okay.
which fertilize the plants for almost 6 months to 8 months. So
Okay.
nothing needed. All you need to do is probably after 8 months, just change the pot into a bigger pot and the plant will keep thriving.
Right. What's the first plant that you remember that you ever cared for, and what did that teach you?
I think the first plant was a carrot plant. Like,
Okay.
in school we would always,
Right.
we were told that, cut the top portion of the carrot, just put it in water and, let it grow. I vaguely remember that was the first plant. But of course, I mean, my mother loves plants. So I'm very, I know that we had a lot of money plants at home back
Yeah.
in the day and a lot of philodendrons. So that's my memory of the first plants that I had back in the day.
Okay. Your first sale, do you remember through Ugaoo the first time you sold any plant or any particular product, or your first customer?
Oh yes, it was at a small exhibition in Mumbai.
Okay.
At Rani Bagh, there was
Okay.
this small flower show. So I'd set up a 8 feet by 8 feet stall and kept like some 10 plants, and
Yeah.
luckily we got sold out that day. So I was very happy. That was, I think, the first exhibition that we did with Ugaoo.
Okay. Your first fundraising pitch, do you remember what that was like?
Yes, I do remember.
And how did it go? Did it fructify?
So I had no clue how to pitch, and what I was told is that just make a 12 slider presentation on what your brand is, because I had the investors coming to me rather than me reaching out to them. So they were like, just this is how you do it. Prepare a presentation, and we'll give you about an hour to take us through it. So I think it went really well. They were quite impressed with what we've built. They hadn't seen such a company in India before, so I think they were really amused and impressed by that presentation.
But did you manage to raise funds from them?
Yes,
Yes, you did.
yes.
Wow, that's amazing. The first
They were the
fundraising
first
pitch.
investors
Yeah.
in Ugaoo.
Okay, great. What about your first hire, the first employee of Ugaoo? If you remember who that was, are they still around?
Yes, there was a guy called Amar Sai. He's not here with us.
Okay.
But he left about 2 years ago. But he was really phenomenal in working along with me. I remember we wrote almost all the product descriptions ourselves. We went to these photography studios with the products, and we used to spend we spent, I think, 4 or 5 days at the studio just clicking the photographs. So I think he was really hands-on, and I could really connect with him
Yeah.
back in the day. So quite memorable for me.
Okay. And what was the first time that you actually felt that you're on to something big? Ugaoo can be something going forward. It can really become something substantial. Was there any defining moment?
I think it was right after the COVID lockdown. Until COVID, of course, we were building it really hard, and we were trying everything. But during the lockdown is when the brand got really noticed. A lot of traction was seen because people could not get out of the house.
Yeah.
And everyone wanted to get plants at home. So I think that was a very pivotal point in our journey. And one day we had posted about helping out with oxygen cylinders and all that. The brand will go ahead and do that. And almost some 20-25 celebrities had reposted it. So I think that day we really got a lot of attention. We got a lot of followers, and I think it was one of our highest sale days also.
Right. Did you ever feel that, on the flip side of that, did you ever feel that, what am I doing here? I'm not sure if this is going to work. That self-doubt moment.
I've had those a
You
lot.
had those. How did you get through those?
I keep having them
You
right
still
now
keep
also.
having them? Okay.
So I think entrepreneurship is all
Yeah,
about that,
yeah.
right? Like some days are good, some days are bad. So it's fine if you get these thoughts. I think what I tried to do is look back, and I often, rather than evaluating in terms of money or wealth, I try to look at it from the point of view of, people.
Right.
How many lives have I impacted? How many lives have I supported? How many employees do I have? And I think that really then instills that belief in me that, okay, now you're doing right,
Yeah.
you're doing fine, just keep doing this and keep growing. And, everything will, fall in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. So, you spoke about employees. What is the team size as of today?
So right now we have about 180 executives
Okay.
and about more than 350 workers, which work at our 25-acre farm in Talegaon. We have a farm in Delhi and Bangalore as well. We produce all our plants. So I think our worker count is much higher, and we love supporting the local tribal communities
Yeah.
around.
So, what has the transition been like from being sort of a small startup where you obviously weren't sure how to get it off the floor to now having such a big team? What has that transition been like? What kind of culture do you try and bring into the company?
I think I have no complaints at all in the journey so far. I think it has been very fulfilling. Of course, we started very small with a limited number of people, but as we are growing, people really appreciate the quality. People love the brand. I think we have been category creators, so a lot of people keep sharing their experiences
Yeah.
with Ugaao plants or just how we have helped them, because plants is a wellness product as well today. It's not only looked at as a decor piece, but it has really impacted a lot of lives, and I think that's what really matters to
Yeah.
us as a brand. And one thing we have noticed is that now it has become more of a household name. We are spreading by word of mouth.
Yeah.
Earlier on, it was very driven by performance marketing or these Meta Google campaigns, but we have really cut down on that, and I think we can see that word of mouth
Right.
play happening now.
Right. So, do you have any sort of hacks or any, checklists that you use when it comes to hiring people? Because I would imagine for a company like Ugaao, it would matter that whoever comes on board has a certain passion, has a
Yeah.
certain relationship with plants of their own, and then they would be able to bring that to the company,
Right. So I am very actively involved in the
the
hiring
hiring process.
process. I do make it a point to talk to most of the people that we hire. Of course, on the higher level, for sure, I spend a good amount, like 2, 3
Yeah.
hours probably. The first thing I check is the value system, right? Like what values do they have? I will ask them questions about their family,
Yeah.
about some of the memories that they have about school, or what happened in college life, and also doing a background check with just how they would handle or how they would react in a situation is something that tells me how that person is. Secondly, then is like is he hungry? Do they want to excel in life, because that is very critical in the startup
Yeah.
world. We cannot have someone complacent, especially in startups. You are very limited with the people that you can get on board, so the hunger is very important. And the third is passion about the category, which is
Yes.
plants, or does he believe in having making sustainable choices in life, because it ties in with gardening.
Right.
You cannot have someone polluting and doing gardening or promoting plants
Yes.
also.
Yes.
So I think these are some of the hygiene checks that we do whenever we are hiring.
Right. What would you like to tell people, because people who understand plants, who have a relationship with nature, it's something that comes very intuitively. But there may be a lot of people who are still evolving and understanding the process and the joy that something like gardening or taking care of a plant would bring. So, what would you like to tell somebody who's probably trying to start their own little garden or get their first few pots? What can gardening and a relationship with plants bring to your life?
I think everyone is on their own journey. It's not mandatory that, let's say, if my friend started with their plant
Yeah.
journey at maybe like 25, I should also start then. Maybe I will start when I'm 40,
Yes, of
or
course.
when I have more time. So there's no perfect start. See, the best way to kind of get on this journey is to get a few plants at home, which are very easy to maintain, and really, like, see how you react or how
Yeah.
you interact with those plants, because some people love talking to plants.
Yeah.
Some
Do you believe
people,
that helps? I
yeah,
mean,
that definitely
I
helps.
believe so too, yes.
And it has helped me as well. So I talk to my plants once in a while. There are some people who feel that, those 2 minutes or 3 minutes that they spend watering the plant,
Yeah.
it really clears up their mind. So it's the easiest form of meditation.
Yes, yes.
Some people are living alone, in their job life, professional life. They feel that, once I come home, the home doesn't feel empty because I have a lot of plants
There's
around.
some form of life in the house. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, plants have their own
Yes.
energy, and definitely they interact with their energies in the room. So everyone has a different perception of, how plants are. Some look at it as a very decor oriented piece.
Yes,
They don't
yes.
they don't feel that, it has life and also. I feel it is different for everyone. The idea is to really get them at home, spend some time, taking care of them, and automatically that relationship will, evolve. It's the same with pets, right? Like no
Yes,
one
of
knows how to
course.
take care of pets, or how it is going to be, but over a period of time, I think nature really teaches you,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
a living thing.
Yeah.
So
No, I remember an experience when I was in school. There was this poem called The Seed Shop. And when I was reading up about Ugaao and your family seed shop, that poem immediately came to my mind. And the end of that poem was, and in my hand a forest lies asleep. And when I was in the fourth or fifth standard, that line just stood out for me. And even today, it holds so much. It has so much meaning because it gives you the understanding in that one line. So much comes through of what
yeah.
nature can do and can be. In one your hand, a fistful of seeds sort of just becomes an entire forest going forward.
Absolutely. I think, seeds, plants are a different world in itself. It's so vast.
Yeah.
The plant, kingdom, you can say. Even the seed is such a great thing that, it's static,
Yeah.
but it has life inside it. So I think, these some things cannot be explained, and,
Yes.
it's best we leave it to nature and God.
So, if you had to give, say, 2 or 3 tips for somebody who's looking to start buying a couple of plants or wants to start their own garden, balcony garden, what would be the most basic tips that you would give?
I think initially start with very low maintenance plants, mostly plants that won't require a lot of sunlight.
For example?
For example, money plants, snake plants, the ZZ plant, or the areca palm is there. Peace lily is a good plant to start with. Aglaonemas are very easy to take care of. So I think there are a lot of easy going plants or easy, like low maintenance plants that you can start with. Water less, always dip your finger, only if you think that, you're feeling something moist, then only water the plant, because often plants like to be dry.
Okay.
They don't like to be wet all the time. Like imagine like ourselves having to go to shower all the time.
Right.
You won't
Right.
like it, right?
Right.
You would want it only once a day. So I think that's how it is with plants as well. The next tip, I would say, is you really need to start your journey with seeds as well.
Okay.
I think there is a different sense of joy in growing your own food. That new leaf unfurling every morning
Yeah.
gives you the highest amount of dopamine, I would
Yeah.
say.
It's one of the first experiments
Yeah.
that even children do, where, second, third standard, in that little cotton, wet cotton, you put in,
Yeah.
those rajma seeds, and then you check every day if the shoots are coming out. Yeah, yeah. If you had to draw a parallel between Ugaao and any tree or plant, what would that be and why?
I would like to draw a parallel with the Japanese bamboo, I think.
Okay.
It really, why I say that is because, the Japanese bamboo, for at least the first 5 years, grows only about a feet or two. It's really developing its rooting system, right? The fundamentals, it really goes deep. And year six, it grows almost like 20 meters. So it shoots off, it really conserves the energy,
Yeah.
it builds its foundation, and then it really scales and grows in the sixth year. I feel Ugaao, I have always wanted to build like that, wherein I wanted to build the fundamentals, I wanted to crack the backward supply chain, I wanted to grow our own plants, and we took a lot of time to set the
The
basic
base. Yeah.
principles. And I think now that we have figured it out, I think now we're ready to grow and scale going
So
forward.
that jump, the 6 year
jump.
jump has to happen still.
Yes.
Okay.
It is happening. Now
Okay.
Now I think it will happen even faster.
Okay, okay. So in terms of, again, going back to your journey as an entrepreneur, is there any mistake that you feel you could rectify if you had the chance that you probably made early in your journey?
I think one mistake that I've definitely made is, try to build that office space too soon, too early. I thought, it is all these cosmetics that attract talent, and the office will have to be a certain way. I will have to sit in a glass building,
Yeah.
and all. Of course, the start was very humble in a garage and all, but later on, I think we pivoted to that very soon, which did not really help me. I think I spent a good amount of the profits that we generated on this, I think, which was a mistake, because the real people out there who want to make a difference and have a lot of passion don't really care about those glass windows. I think
Right.
they're more in it for the vision, purpose of the
Yeah.
company. So that's the biggest mistake I feel that I've done so
Okay,
far.
okay. In terms of your profitability, you're profitable at the moment. What is that path like?
Yes, we are operationally profitable
Operationally
at the
profitable.
moment.
Okay, okay. And in terms of fundraising, any plans to further raise funds?
So we have raised 2 rounds so
Okay.
far. We did a pre-series A, and recently in November we raised our series A with V3 Ventures, DSG, Consumer Partners, and RPG. I think we have a good runway for about 2 years now. Of course, if we decide to really amp up our retail stores and go from 60 to 100, we might need to raise in about a year and a half.
But is the focus going to continue to be on metros, or will you be looking at the smaller towns as well?
We are looking at the tier 2 towns because spending on lawn and garden is more in those towns.
Yes, yes.
We are seeing that through quick commerce also. So, what we are planning is that metros and tier 2 is what we will focus. Tier 3, we will mostly do it through franchise stores.
Okay. And if you had to give some advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, what would be the advice you would give them?
Do something that no one has done before.
Okay.
There is some different level of satisfaction that you get, different level of sleep that you get. Write your own playbook. You need not become another Me Too brand. I think that's one thing that I did with Ugaoo. No one had really built a gardening brand in India, and no one knew how to do it. I think venturing into that uncharted territory is often rewarded very well. So I think if you have a choice, do a niche and do something that others haven't done.
Right. But now, do you fear that now that you've established yourself so well that it's going to be a model that could be replicated by others?
Oh yes, of course. I mean, we have more than 100
Yeah.
companies that
Yes.
have popped up in this category. A lot of people have copied the packaging, the pots, the website.
How do you deal
I
with
think
all
it is a
that?
part and parcel of business.
Okay.
There's not much you need to stress about. I think that's in fact validation that you're doing something right, right?
Yeah, they say imitation is the best form of flattery.
So I get happy that okay,
Yeah.
fine, I'm getting copied, so I think we're doing a lot of things right. So I think that is fine as long as you don't become complacent and keep on innovating and keep on listening to the consumers, keep being fresh, and always top up your best. I think you'll keep doing well, and that's what keeps us going at the end. Like, we don't look at what others are doing. Often we are the first ones to innovate, and then the others follow.
All right, Siddhant, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. Hi, my name is Siddhant Bhalinge. I'm the founder of Ugaoo. I had a lovely conversation with Avni from Startup to Scale Up. Please watch the entire episode on Hook.